So this is my full piston video, so both integration of a reverse Kegel and a full Kegel. So if I'm giving you this video, strengthening of your pelvic floor is something that we want to do, and also lengthening of the pelvic floor. For most of my clientele, if not all of my clientele, ensuring that we can get a nice eccentric or nice opening of the pelvic floor prior to activating the pelvic floor will serve us very well moving forward into all of our core challenges, returning to running, or just integration postpartum, or whenever you find yourself in terms of your pelvic health. So I have likely given you a reverse Kegel video, so I won't go over this in depth, but we're basically prepping the pelvic floor with that eccentric lengthening, that breath in, and then doing a light activation upwards. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about the activation of the pelvic floor as it's more pertinent to this video for you at this point in time. Here's my pelvic floor model. When activating the pelvic floor, from a global standpoint, if I've asked you to maybe leave either posterior pelvic floor off of the equation or anterior pelvic floor off of the equation, that'll be clear based on our session and in the follow-up email I have sent you. But from a general standpoint, when we're activating the pelvic floor, we want both a squeeze of the muscles and a lift. And by a lift, I mean upwards into our body cavity. So, when activating your pelvic floor, we want to do this on exhale. The reason why is when we breathe in, our pelvic floor lengthens. As we exhale, the diaphragm descends up. You can imagine it sucking up into our body. Our pelvic floor should also follow. After birth, the pelvic floor muscles become a little bit stretched, a little bit weak, so we need to retrain them with the diaphragm to help provide support to the bottom of the pelvis. A reminder that the pelvic floor is a group of muscles that sit like a hammock at the bottom of our pelvis to support the bottom of our core, our pelvic region, and also our abdominal contents that are sitting on top. So I'll guide you through the full piston, seated, and then also lying down. So you can try this seated, but I find it a lot easier lying down, similar to starting the reverse Kegel. So you're going to breathe in your umbrella breath or reverse Kegel, keeping it out of your chest, expanding down into the pelvic floor. Now on exhale, blowing out like you're blowing out birthday candles. And as you do this, bring your vagina towards your rectum and your sit bones together, so forming a cross at the bottom of your pelvis and then lifting up internally. So breathing in, down into the pelvic floor. Exhale, bring vagina towards rectum, sit bones towards each other, and pull up into your abdominal cavity. Now this is a very light activation. It shouldn't evoke ab gripping. If you're getting co-activation or activation of your abdomen at this point, try to keep that quiet, okay? So keeping your hand on your belly when you're doing this. Sometimes I'll have you actually palpate your pelvic floor in a seated or I'm in a kneeling position, inhaling. And exhaling, activating pelvic floor without gripping the abs. It's very hard to do. So let's try this lying down. So lying in a comfortable laying position, you can have a pillow under your head. You're going to breathe into the belly. You're going to exhale, keep belly, glutes relaxed, draw vagina towards rectum, sit bones together, and draw gently upwards. You can think about your pelvic floor as an elevator. So when you inhale, if this is level 1, as you inhale, we should drop down to the basement with the reverse Kegel. As we exhale, we should come back up to level 1. Breathing in. Exhale, vagina to rectum, sit bones together. Gently coming up. For most of my clients, I will advise you to watch out for symptoms of hypertonic pelvic floor or that your muscles are becoming too tight. If this happens, you want to back off essentially on your pelvic floor activation, because what that is telling you is that you're activating your pelvic floor too much and too often. The symptoms are increased urinary frequency, so you're going to the washroom more frequently, increased urgency, any pelvic pain or cramping, as well as increased in constipation or hemorrhoids. If any of those things are happening, please either email me or decrease the amount of activation you're doing prior to our next appointment, or just do a lot of reverse Kegels and relaxation in between your strengthening sessions. For strengthening of the pelvic floor, this may be integrated into some exercises I have given you. We may just be starting this as a sinking process, okay? Or I just might be asking you to integrate this throughout the day. Please refer to your email for specifics in that regard. And if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, have a good night.